Hello, thank you for tuning into my channel. I'm making a memory pillow today, so if you want to see how to turn this shirt into a pillow like this, please stay tuned. The process for making memory pillows is pretty simple. The reason that I'm making these is because somebody asked me if I could. I wasn't sure if I could, so I checked out some tutorials, and I made this one as a practice pillow. This is just a button-down shirt that my son had, and instead of making this one, of course, I'm going to use this shirt. This is a shirt that somebody has asked me to turn into a memory pillow. If you check YouTube out, there are lots of videos about making these. But I'm going to make one using a specific size pillow form. And so I hopefully can give you some tips and tricks to kind of get you through that process. The materials that I've gathered are just my shirt. I have the pillow form for right now. I'm just going to put it to the side. I don't need it yet. I have some regular straight pins. I have my rotary cutter and a ruler. And I'm using my large mat. This is my 24 by 36 mat because I'm going to have to do some rotary cutting later, and I need a wide amount of space on my mat to cut. And then I just have my regular scissors, and my client has purchased some patches. These, of course, are optional, but I think that she ordered these on Etsy. I'm not even sure. Wait. The name of the company is here. It says Green Owl Gift Shop. So, yeah, this is an Etsy shop, Green Owl Gift Shop. And so she got the patches from there. And I'm going to turn this shirt into a pillow for her. Now, when you are getting ready to start with this, you definitely want to measure your shirt and make sure that you can get whatever size you want if you're going to use the pre-made pillow form. You don't have to. You can just make the pillow. You can make the pillowcase and then make your pillow form based on the size of this. But I have, she already picked out that she wanted 16-inch square pillow forms, and so I'm going to use these to make this shirt into the pillow. My shirt that I used, it was a size medium, and so it wouldn't have got the 16 inches square. So just measure and make sure that you have enough for the size that you want, and if not, you'll have to go down to a smaller size pillow form, or you can make your own pillow form. Okay, so when I measured this is my 6 by 24 ruler. I just want to make sure that I can get 16 inches across the chest. And so I can get that easily. There's a little bit of overhang, and that's what I want. And really, I'm going to try to, since this shirt has some design on it, I'm going to try to get outside the pockets here so both of these designs can be included in the shirt. But that's not an issue yet. We don't have to deal with that yet. My first step is going to be to cut up the shirt. And I'm going to cut up the side seams, and then I'm cutting the sleeves off on both sides. So I'm going to do that off camera, and then I'll show you what it looks like. I have the sides and the sleeves cut off of my shirt. Now, the thing that I didn't tell you is that you want to make sure that you start with a shirt that's cleaned and pressed so that it'll be easier to work with. And now that I have this section cut off, the next thing that I'm going to do is I need to make this section flat. I need to make the shoulders flat. So I'm going to do that by drawing some fabric up under here, and I'll show you that in just a second. I did go ahead and button up all the buttons. You need that so that you can make sure that you keep your shirt as straight as possible. And sometimes, most of the time, or well, I say most of the time, I've only made like 3 of these. But I would have buttoned the top button, but this top button happens to be missing. Also, based on the way this shirt naturally folds this way, I think that this was the way that he wore the shirt. So I want to I'm going to stitch it down like that. In order to get my shoulders really flat, I'm just going to draw the fabric up under here until this collar is straight. And I'm just making sure that I have fabric all the way down to this first button. So I'm just kind of tucking and pulling and tucking and pulling just to make sure. Okay. And I am, just for my sake, I'm a little bit concerned about the size. I'm going to take a quick measurement and make sure that I have at least 16 inches this way because of where I cut the sleeves off. So let's see. Here we go. Good. I still have 17 inches, so that's good. So I don't have to worry about that. Now my next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to pin the shoulders down. Once I have it as straight as I think it'll go, I'm going to pin the shoulders down here, and then I'm going to lift the collar, and I'm going to pin the entire collar down. So even all the way down to this little section where it's going to fold over, I'm going to pin all the way down there and all the way over here. Okay, so I'll pin it and then I'll show you what it looks like. I have the shoulders pinned and I have the collars pinned. And since I decided to go a little bit further down, I've just creased the fabric here. And so the line is going to go from where the collar ends down this crease that I've created, and then on both sides. So I'm going to stitch here with matching thread, and then down the side of the collar, and then up the other side of the collar and across the other shoulder. So let's do that at the machine, and then I'll show you what it looks like. We are going to make sure to back stitch at the beginning and end of every seam. I went ahead and stitched down the shoulders here, and then I kind of created a little collar. I'm not sure if on camera, like, to me it looks a little crooked, but I think it'll be okay because it'll kind of lay the way it's supposed to. I've also, there was a hole right here because of where this fabric was underneath. So I went ahead and I stitched inside the collar here just to close up that hole. The next step for me is going to be to add this patch. And when I've made a couple of these out of polo shirts, and I added the patch on the front, but because of this design, I'm going to add it on the back. And to do that, before I do it, I'm just going to kind of measure and make sure that I have enough space under it. So I'm going to try it here. Let me make sure we can see that on the camera. Yeah. So scoot it down a little bit. And I have it on the camera, it's upside down, but once the pillow is made, it should be right side up. Actually, I think I'm going to take it a little bit lower. And there's a reason for that, but hopefully you'll see it later. Hopefully when I get ready to put the whole pillow together, I'll have enough space to do a little bit of adjustment if I need to. So I'm bringing it down just a little bit, and then I'm going to pin it here, and then I'm going to take a zigzag stitch and go down the side of it in black thread so that you can't see the thread. So I'll do that off camera, show you what it looks like, and then we'll go to the next step. I have the patch in place here, and let's see if you can see the zigzag on the back. But because, but because I use the black thread, you can't see it on the front, which is exactly what I want. Now I need to square off the ends of this panel so that they'll be ready to stitch together. I'm going to flip this around because I'm going to make my first cut on this end. Now, at this point, you can really do whatever you want. Like if you don't have a pillow form, you can just decide where you want to square it and then just square it and it'll be fine. Since I have a pillow form, then I'm looking for a measurement that's close to my pillow form size. And again, I'm using 16 and a 16-inch square pillow. And I need to cut this so that both sides are going to be 16 inches. Let's see. So what I did on my other ones, but they were polo shirts, so they had a little bit more flexibility. I'm going to cut this. I'm going to square this end. I think I'm going to square it right at 32 inches so that when it folds over, it'll be 16 inches. I think I'm going to do that, but I might cut it at 32 and a half. I haven't really decided yet, but I'm going to go ahead and choose it, and I'm just going to say 32 inches. I'm just going to cut it at 32. That'll give me a nice tight fit on the pillow, and hopefully it'll make the pillow look very stuffed and really cool. So I'm just laying my ruler down here. I have 32 inches at this end, and then I'll cut it. It looks like it'll be along the pocket line here. I'm not sure if I like that, but that may be what it has to be. Actually, no, it's not. I'm going to pull this down so that it's just below, so that my cut is going to be right above these pockets. Okay, so that means that I'm cutting most of this off. Again, to get that 32 inches. And I'm just looking for a straight edge that I can stitch to. So I'm cutting here. And it's important to cut the end with no buttons first and then cut the end with the buttons, because then you'll have a little bit more flexibility when it comes to the next step. So I cut the no button side first, and now I'm just lining my ruler up at the 0 line here and cutting the bottom. Okay. Oh. Just checking it, trying to keep it nice and square. Okay, and now from this point, I'm going to flip this over and pin these ends together, and then give it a nice stitch along that edge, and I will show you what that looks like. You can see the seam now. This is the seam that I just stitched here. And I'm going to turn the cover inside out. I've basically just created a tube here. And I have, let's see. Alright, so with the seam that I just did, when I put it at the bottom of the case, you can see that the collar is a little cattywampus. It's kind of folded over the edge. So at this point, we can do a little bit of adjusting. I'm going to move the collar down just a little bit. Since it's a tube, the whole thing just kind of goes along. Alright, and so at this point, I can just kind of choose whichever way I like the best. So if I want to keep it right here, so that the collar meets just at the top, I think that's okay. Or I can move it down just a little bit more, a smidge more. I think I like this a little bit better, because that way the top of this collar won't be right at the top of the pillow. We have a little bit of room. Okay, now this is why, let me flip this over. This is why I chose to move this, the patch down just a little bit. So you can see right here, if I had kept it where it was, it would probably be right at the very top of this, but that's not where I want it. So I like that I moved it down just a little bit so that it'll be at the top of the back of the pillow. Now, right here, the pockets are a little funny. So if I wanted to, again, I have the choice to move the placement up so that the pockets are right there. Then the collar hangs over the top, and that is an option. You know, I'm not going to choose that option, but that could be an option if you wanted to just have your pillow with the collar hanging up top. So I'm going to move it down just a little bit. Let's see, what if I put the pockets just there? Again, the collar kind of hangs over, and I don't really like that because I'm afraid that this is going to wear out if it's rubbing up against other things. So I'm just going to roll it back down like it was. Okay. All right, and so at this point, I need to make some cuts for the sides, to stitch the sides together. Then the pillow is going to be done. So I'm getting my ruler here, and I'm just going to measure. Let's see. I had said it was about 17 across, so I'm going to put it over here so that we get the 16. And I mean, I have a little bit more flexibility. I could do 16 and a half. I could do 16 and a quarter. I think I'm going to try for 16 and a half. So it'll be just outside the pockets. All right. Okay. And so I'm going to make my first cut on this side, and then I'll make the cut on the other side. This is my 15-inch square ruler, and I'm just going to lay it here. Actually, I don't even know the best way to do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to turn this so that my bottom is here, and then I'll measure for my 16 and a half, and I'll line it up with the mat. I think I'll cut it that way. So I'm going to go over just a little bit. And I mean, the reason it matters so much on this one is because of the design. Let's see. Actually, I'm not going to do that either. Since I'm going to be making a 16.5-inch cut, I'm going to use the buttons as my center line, and I'm going to line up the center of the buttons at 8 1/4. Okay, so this side is now 8 1/4 from center. If I line up the center of the button, and then I'll line up my ruler here. And since I'm left-handed, I need to be able to cut with my left hand. So here we go. All right. Then I'll do the same thing on the other side. From the center of the ruler, line it up at 8 1/4. Center of buttons, 8 1/4, and that's going to be my cutting. Still left-handed, I gotta flip it around. Okay, so now if I line it up, I can cut the other side at 16 1/2 using the mat. Okay. And here we go. So I have this cut off, and so now it's ready. And you can see it's pretty well centered. So now at this point, I'm going to unbutton the buttons, then flip it inside out and pin. So unbutton all the buttons. Maybe not that one. Okay, and then I'm going to flip the panel inside out. And I want to make sure that I have my collar where I wanted it, which was just below the top, and then my patch is here, so that neither one of them is right at the very top of the pillow. Okay, and then I'm just going to pin the sides, stitch down each side, and I'll show you the finished pillowcase. Okay, It's time for the final, or next to final reveal of the pillowcase. I've stitched down both sides, and so now it's ready to be turned inside out. And I just want to make sure that the corners are nice and tight after I get it turned. It's really easy to turn since I've unbuttoned all the buttons. So make sure you do that before you do the side seams. And I'm just pushing the points out just to make sure it's right. Okay, so here it is. And I could choose to press these, press the sides. You definitely could do that. And then press this back seam. I haven't decided if I'm going to do that yet. I'm going to stuff it first and then see if I feel like it needs it. So I gave this, this pillow about a 3/8 inch seam allowance on both sides and that bottom seam. You can choose your own seam allowance. I don't know if I would do a 1/4 inch because to me that seems a little bit small for a pillow. But I mean, to each your own. You can do whatever you want. So now I'm just going to take this pillow and where I open the buttons, I'm just going to stuff it in here. So, and you can see how simple this is. Since this is not going to be exactly 16-inch square, you might have to do a little bit of squeezing and pushing and all that. But I'm doing that on camera so you can see how that it's not super hard. It does take a little bit of elbow grease, but it's not hard. Okay. And I'm just pushing it in there. And I was thinking about undoing this other, yeah, I undid that other button. But there is a seam at the top, but I did back stitch, so it shouldn't come apart. We should be safe where all the seams are concerned. So just still stuffing. There we go. Then, all right, so I have it stuffed. I'm just going to make sure that the corners are pushed in as far as they can be to the corners of the pillow are pushed in to the corners of my of the pillowcase. Just kind of stuffing them down in there, making sure they're good. Okay. And then same thing at the bottom. I'm not sure about this tag. I didn't cut any of the other ones off. I am gonna cut the tag off, but I'll do it off camera so that you can, because I want you to go ahead and see the pillow. Or I might leave it on because it doesn't matter to me. All right. Okay. And now that the pillow is in here, I'm just going to button the buttons back up. And then the pillow will be all set to go. Two more buttons. Go in, little button. Here we go. All right, so here is our finished pillow. If I wanted to, I could stitch the collar down a little bit right there. I'm going to leave it as is. Okay, but you can see here's the front of the pillow. And then here's the back of the pillow. I probably could have taken the patch down a little bit more, but I think it's okay this way. It turned out great, and it took so much less time it takes so much less time to make the pillow than it does to make the video. So once you sit down to do this, it's super duper simple, and anybody can do it. Give it a try if you are interested in a memory pillow. If you have any questions about what you've seen in this video, please leave them in the comments below. Thumbs up this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!